taking over. Let's go. It's Ferrall. Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money. It's Ferrall, coast to coast. Solomon Wilcots is back with us from Sirius NFL Radio. I talked to you, I think, at every Super Bowl.
Yep.
Thank God we're still showing up at Super Bowls. That's a good sign that we're still here, right?
Absolutely.
It's good to see you.
A lot of energy. Of course, this place just gets bigger and better every single year, and we get to come back and do this.
Now, listen, I think the last time I talked to you about Macy, about knees. Now, you know how I get. I get real nervous talking about knees and ankles and Achilles. Yeah. I don't like to talk about those things. I don't want to. I'm one more knee, Achilles, or ankle from being finished. And I played tons of basketball, and I have seen some of my best friends blow out their knees in football and in basketball. I played with a point guard that played in college basketball up in the Northeast, and this guy was the greatest point guard I ever played with, and I won titles with him. He was amazing. And then one Saturday, he landed on his knee, and it blew out.
Wow.
He never played again. Wow. He tore his ACL and MCL, and he now he plays golf and smokes weed. Okay, so he ain't playing no more ball. But I worry about knees. Now, tell everybody what you're doing with Macy.
Yeah, see, I work with this company. It's called Vericel, and we're here really to promote and educate people about this new procedure to help people who are dealing with injuries to their cartilage in the knee. So if you have had injury where you have damaged cartilage in the knee, you want to have the Macy orthoscopic procedure. It's an autologous science. What that means is they use your own cells to grow your tissue, to grow new healthy cartilage, and they do it orthoscopically. They take a piece of healthy tissue out, they grow it in a lab, and then orthoscopically they go back in and they attach it to the healthy tissue and to the bone, and it keeps you from deteriorating to where you're bone on bone, and where later you'll have to have a total joint replacement or knee replacement.
So my daughter had it, So she's a basketball star up in New York City, and she had full cartilage damage. So what happened was when she was a kid, she sat like a genie, and with her knees underneath her, and that's how she sat and watched TV, and she would sit awkwardly. And then when she became a basketball player, her cartilage was damaged, and she had raw cartilage hanging from the back of her knee, like the fish in the water, dangling. You know what I mean? And so I took her to Toronto. I got platelet rich, and I did Prolo. Now, the Prolo therapy regenerates the cartilage. So she had to get 300 shots in her knees, 150 in each knee. Bawling, agony. It sucked, but it worked. It regrew. So the platelet spun the cells and redid the blood, and then the Prolo regrew the cartilage back to its original form. And she went from having agony playing ball to no knee problems at all. It sounds like almost the same thing on a different level.
Well, I think that's incredible that your daughter was able to get positive results and that she's doing well.
Crazy.
The Macy orthoscopic procedure, again, they pull out your healthy tissue and they grow your tissue. So that's how they grow it. They grow it in a lab, and then it goes.
I wish they did that with my hair.
Me and Sarah, that's exactly right, man. You have that afro going, right?
I mean, honestly, I got an area of concern over here. It's just really, and I'm facing the room here, so everyone walking by gets to see my area of concern. It's a problem. It's Monday, and I've already got a problem.
Yeah. That's how it looks like when your cartilage starts to. It really, which is that smooth. The cartilage is that smooth stuff around that chicken bone.
But when it's raw, it's like dangling.
That's exactly right. And then it wears down. And so just like you can have holes in your fro, you can have potholes in your cartilage. But this Macy orthoscopic procedure.
So all ages can do it?
That's right. Already been FDA approved. You can go to the website, Maci.com. to find out more about the procedure or find a doctor.
My problem was I went to Macy's and no one helped me with my knee pain when I was down on 34th Street, and they just told me that where the men's section was so I could get some underwear.
You could get golf gloves. You could get sweater.
So
you can't get that.
These two teams this week, I got to tell you, I hate both of them. And I hope that because I'm from Pittsburgh. Why would I like the Eagles?
Yeah, that's
and then Kansas City is the king, and you always want to slay the king. And I'm sick and tired of watching them win.
Whenever Pittsburgh plays Kansas City, they do beat them. Like
not Christmas Day.
That
ruined my Christmas Day. And then I caught my wife sleeping with Santa Claus. It was unbelievable. It's a horrible day. I drank all the eggnog. But honestly, I'm sick of them winning. I got to be honest. Don't tell anybody. Shh. I'm sick of coming here every year and talking about the Kansas City Chiefs. Sick of it.
I could tell you what
I wish it was Buffalo, Washington.
Remember when the Steelers had a dynasty?
Yeah, I was happy with that.
What they went
4 and 6 years. Yes, that was a great. It was a great time for all Americans.
Think about that. You had your turn.
I did.
It's the people in Kansas City.
I went to all 4. I went to all 8 of their Super Bowls.
I was a kid growing up watching the Steelers. Who didn't love Franco Harris?
I mean, honestly.
Who didn't love Lindsay?
Mel Blount.
John Stallworth. Mel Blount.
Donnie Shell.
He was my all-time favorite. Joe
Green. Elsie Greenwood. Jack Ham.
Was a dude.
I mean, Lambert was a god.
Of course, still is.
I mean, and I think he became a park ranger.
Hey, look.
You always know when they go up and live in the woods, you don't mess with those people.
But the parks are safe.
Listen, and then I saw Big Ben win 2 Super Bowls.
There you go. Come on, you've had a good life.
I've had a good life.
No team has more Vince Lombardi trophies hanging in its trophy case than the Pittsburgh Steelers.
And the Patriots have 6 as well. They're tied.
Have more than the Steelers.
But they don't have more.
That's right.
They're tied.
So do you see that was?
But Tom Brady, I hate him too because he's got 7, and I don't like him at all. And I'm glad, and I've said this on the air, that his wife found a new boyfriend and is having a baby with him.
How do you think he's doing?
That would kill me.
How you think
if my wife left me and then 3 months later was pregnant, it would kill me. I'd probably jump off a bridge.
It might kill, but not Tom Brady. He's got staying power.
He's better looking than me. He's got more money. He's got more rings.
I suspect he's doing okay.
Did you like how about the way he went from New England and still won another one in Tampa?
It proves
he picked the right team. He said, I'm going to go there and I'm going to win another one.
It proves he's got the juice, too.
How many do you think Mahomes will win? I mean, he's already about to win his 4th.
Yeah. Young.
And he's, 27?
He's got Andy Reid. Long as Andy stay. Look, remember a few years ago we were here, people saying, Andy Reid's going to retire. I'm like, no way. When you're riding Seabiscuit, Secretariat, when you're riding a horse that you know can win, who would jump off that horse?
Yeah, who's walking away from that?
Nobody's walking away from that. You've got a young, talented quarterback.
That's probably why
Mahomes, you're not retired.
That's probably why LeBron won't quit now either, because now he's going to be with Luka. I bet he goes for another year or 2. He plays like he's 30.
Remember Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Of course.
Getting toward the end. Then here comes Magic Johnson. Extended his career.
Invigorated it.
It's exactly right.
And they won.
Exactly right.
And they beat Boston doing it.
Tell me.
And I don't like them either.
Who's that?
Boston? I don't like Boston. I don't like anything from there. Their teams, their city, their weather, their women.
I grew up in L.A., grew up a lifelong Lakers fan, so look,
listen.
If you don't like Boston,
what do you think of what happened in L.A.? So I lived in Huntington Beach, and we never had fires in Huntington Beach, but I lived there for 12 years. I had 1 million friends that lived in Palisades and in Pasadena and Altadena and everything. I got a couple seconds. What did that do to you, seeing what happened to L.A.? It was awful.
It broke my heart.
It did.
It broke my heart. There was a fire in Bel Air decades ago. This is sort of repeating some of what happened, but the Santa Ana winds.
They were 30 miles an hour then. Now they're 100.
Now they're, exactly. Those Santa Ana winds took down power lines. Those power lines started fires, and also you lost use of the hydrants, and so it was a cascading event of multiple
things
happening.
It was awful.
To cause this disaster.
Solomon, always good to see you. Check out MaciMaci.com. My man, enjoy the Super Bowl.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
New Orleans at Super Bowl 59 at Radio Row. Our first day here at the Convention Center in New Orleans in the French Quarter. And it only gets crazier from here. Later tonight, we're going to go to the Superdome, and it's media night. So everyone gets to interview the players from both teams. Each team does an hour. And the media generally asks them 95% idiotic, stupid, ironic questions, and then there's a dinner for the media in between. So there's like 7 to 8 then with one team, and then 8 to 9 dinner, and then 9 to 10 second team. And then after 10 o'clock local time in 11 o'clock East and 10 Central, then we'll be able to show you the interviews and release them to the public. Believe it or not, Mike, when you're there, inside the Superdome, the NFL doesn't allow anyone to produce anything and release it from that location until it's over. The entire event is over and done. And when it ends at that 10 p.m. Central Time, then at 10:01 you can start releasing it. So I just thought that people would be interested to know that fact, because a lot of people would love to be, I'm live at the media night at the Super Bowl, and doing, you got your selfies and doing all your videos and FaceTimes and whatever else, or showing someone like your family member or your wife or your kid that you're at the media event. It won't work. It doesn't work. They control everything. It's crazy when you think about it. Now, I know we talked with Kyle Sabi earlier about the De'Aaron Fox trade and how Zach LaVine ended up with the Kings, Mike. I have to tell you, though, as I said to him, it was the ignored biggest story of the day. Like, this deal was enormous as well, but nothing transcended Luka and AD's deal Saturday night at midnight.
No, this one definitely was on the back burner because obviously with the Luka trade going on. Spurs get De'Aaron Fox and Jordan McLaughlin. The Kings get Zach LaVine, Sissoko, 2 first-round picks, 3 second-round picks. The Bulls get Zach Collins, Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter, and their own 2025 first-rounder back from the Spurs. So there you go. Obviously the main things here, Scotty, is you get Fox in San Antonio with Wembanyama, which is huge. I got to tell you, from the Sacramento standpoint, I like the future assets. I believe one of those first-round picks is actually even Charlotte's for this year, so it has a chance to be a pretty good pick. But putting Levine back with DeRozan, like, that didn't work in Chicago. I know that there's different pieces around him here in Sacramento, but I don't know. I just that didn't work over there. Why do you think it's going to work for them there? Here. It just didn't make a lot of sense to me.
Well, I think that it's a really good point by you, Mike, that it didn't work in Chicago. But one thing is certain is that both of them can fill it up. Like, so in some regard, like, let's make it work. What's the problem? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to sit around and cry, or are you going to fill it up? Because they can both score. Like, DeRozan has 35-point nights, and Levine's averaging 24, 4.5, 4.5, and career highs in field goal percentage and three-point percentage. He's been incredible. And like I said earlier on the show, he did all of this wanting to be traded without complaining. He did it all silently. He never said a bad word about anybody in Chicago. He just went out and filled it up every night and made his work stand and speak for itself, as opposed to Jimmy Cancer. And that's what I'm going to call him from now on, Jimmy Cancer. I have never seen in the NBA in the longest time. Now, look, you can say whatever you want about Zion doesn't play, Embiid doesn't play, but I have never seen, frankly, a malcontent like Butler. I really, can you think of anyone that's been worse than him? With what he's tried to pull off, and how many people he's stepped on their necks, and how many people he has thrown under the bus, and how he's behaved about everything. He is in complete disregard for anybody, anywhere, any team. Nothing is good enough for him. I am like to the point where it's like, screw this guy. I said to you before, send him out to the Mormons. See how he likes it there. Honestly, like, I would send him to the worst team in the league and let him suffer. Honestly, this guy, who in the F does he think he is? Meanwhile, a guy like Zach LaVine goes out every day and busts his ass, never says a word, and he ends up winning. That's a really decent 5. I'm not going to sit here and, with LaVine, DeRozan, Monk, Murray, and Sabonis. Now, the thing is, Mike, real quickly, is that you can have the big 3 in Brooklyn, the big 3 in Phoenix. We've seen it all. But now you're talking about, now that's a solid 5. But the thing is, as you know, I guarantee you it'll never be together, those 5. Someone always gets hurt, someone's always down, someone's always out, and they never are all 5 playing at the same time. If they were, I think it would be a significant 5. But something always happens that it's either 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. It's never all 5 at the same time. It never works out. Something happens always. I mean, proof's in the pudding. It never worked in Brooklyn. It's not working in Phoenix. They're ready to break that up like a high school marriage. And that's just all there is to it.
You're starting to see these stories that maybe Phoenix is going to blow the whole thing up and maybe move Durant and do all these other things, try to get some assets back. The Butler stuff is nonsense, and you bring it up. For him to be unwilling to go to Golden State and sign an extension, so that's no Golden State. Phoenix, we're talking about blowing it up. Dallas clearly isn't getting him now with the moves that they just made. Where does this guy think he's going between now and Thursday? I got to tell you, he might have to sit on him and just lose him for nothing. I think that might be where this is heading.
Send him to, I said it, send him to Utah, send him to the Wizards. See how he likes that. Like, send him, honestly, if I were Pat Riley, I would send him anywhere he could to make him miserable.
Yeah, I don't have any problem with that either. Send him somewhere miserable. There was another trade. The Clippers gave P.J. Tucker and Mo Bamba to Utah for Drew Eubanks and Patty Mills. Smaller scale trade.
Can you imagine P.J. Tucker? What's he going to become, a professional skier?
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game going do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So let's look at some of these NBA games, Carver Hyde. It went down after all these exciting trades that shocked the sports world.
Yeah, there was a few, that's for sure. Yesterday, Pistons beat the Bulls 127-119. So the Mavs had to play yesterday afternoon. Right a couple hours after the trade. We played that clip earlier of Kid. They got absolutely smashed in that game. They gave up 90 points in the first half. I mean, they lost by 43. They were down like 50, 60 in this game. I mean, 144 to 101. I know they played like a skeleton crew, too. Like, they didn't have anybody out there, but that was embarrassing.
They mailed it in.
From the Mavs. Paycheck game for everybody. Paycheck game, indeed. Clippers lost in Toronto. You know, Toronto's been playing really well lately. Toronto all of a sudden's back in the mix after beating the Clips.
They cover a lot, but they're still 75 games under.
Well, you know what? Because these teams in the East are so bad, you know, they're not too far off from maybe getting in that play-in tournament.
Is that right?
When you got teams. In fact, Luke, I'm going to make Luke work now. Scroll ahead to the East standings, Luke. I want to throw those up.
Whoa,
throw them up now. There it is. So if you look at it now, the Raptors are only 4 back in the loss column of Chicago and 6 back of Atlanta. So it's not impossible with the way they've been playing. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They've won a bunch of games. They got a shot.
I mean, what are they, 5 behind the Bulls? And the Bulls are anemic. So
4 games in the loss.
Look, I know they cover, but I mean that's a lot of ground to make up when you're 5 deep of a team that's already kind of shaky. You know what I mean? Like they're shaky to begin with, and they got the last spot. But anything's possible. Maybe, you know, they're so bad, the Bulls, maybe they'll implode. Maybe they'll, you know, without Zach LaVine, maybe they're just going to go tank it up because, look, it's either that or with this trade, now they got picks and everything. Here's the deal. It's either sink or swim for Billy Donovan. I've already told you on this show, on Coast to Coast on SportsGrid, multiple times, I can't believe the guy's still the coach. Like, all they do is lose. And they've been awful. And he's this high-priced, highfalutin coach. And now what are they going to do with all these picks? I mean, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Shane and Dable with the Giants. All right, we're going to go with him again. Even though all we do is lose, we're going to go with him again because we got a high draft pick, and we'll let that pick change the fortunes of our franchise. You know what I'm saying? That's what the Bulls are doing now with this deal. They move Levine. They think that they're going to, they'll have all this capital, make a deal for a couple players, draft a couple of star players, and that the Bulls will be back winning again, and that he's the right guy for the job. I don't believe he is. He's already proven he can't coach in the NBA. I think he's a great college coach. Sometimes you think you're fabulous. Like, look, I thought Pitino was a good coach in the NBA. He was not a great coach in the NBA. He's a great college coach and a good pro coach, and now he's back doing college, which is what he always should have been doing. Fair enough? I never thought he was great. I thought he was good. And I've never thought that Billy was a good NBA coach. I thought he was a great college coach.
Yeah, no doubt. The Sixers looked like they were going to run away from the Celtics last night. They had a 26-point lead, and the Celtics came all the way back, 118 to 110, the largest comeback since Mazzulla's been the coach, 26 points. Nothing like piking at home, up 26, like the Sixers did last night. When you're bad, you're bad. I mean, that's how it goes. And the Grizzlies beat the Bucks 132-119. I saw Jalen Jackson Jr. had a huge night. He hit like 7+ threes. The guy was out of his mind.
I watched that game.
So Memphis good. I told you on Friday that would be on when you got there. On
you
Sunday
were right,
night,
and
that was going to be on all over the place.
So imagine this, right? Like I'm on Bourbon Street, and you walk, and Mavi and I are walking, and we walked for almost a mile, like I'd say 3/4 of a mile, right? And every other bar, because there's 5 million bars, every other bar had the Bucks on, and then the in-between bars were naked women.
Yeah, or music. That or music. You got some live band playing in there.
Basketball, strip club, jazz. Basketball, strip club, jazz.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
And we are back for El Coast to Coast here on a Monday. Of course, Scotty down in New Orleans for the Super Bowl. We're going to get back to him in a little bit. I do have a bit of spew news for you while we wait for Scotty to get rolling down there. MLB umpire Pat Hoberg has been fired after sharing betting accounts with a friend who bet on baseball. An MLB ump out the door. No evidence that Hoberg bet or manipulated any games that he worked on. He also deleted messages that were crucial to MLB's investigation. Always you can see umps getting chopped on a Monday of Super Bowl week for having various betting accounts.
It's unbelievable. It really is unbelievable because it's every week we go through someone else being involved in a betting scandal. It really is crazy. Now you're telling me an umpire in Major League Baseball is busted and thrown out for giving his buddies betting advice and betting. What was he giving him, Carver High? He was showing him what?
He was sharing betting accounts with a friend who bet on baseball.
Oh.
There's no evidence that he bet on the
mercy.
games, but he was sharing this account with a friend. So out he goes. Finished.
Chopped. Out he goes. All right, well, listen, we're going to break free, and we're going to talk to Lindsay Rhodes now from Sumer Sports. And Lindsay, of course, hails from El Toro, Cali.
Ooh.
How about that?
How about that?
And you're friends with my guy, Tommy D. Dimitrov, and all my friends at Sumer Sports.
Yep.
How's it going now? Because I think when it started, it was like 3 years ago, maybe?
Yeah.
Am I crazy?
Mm-hmm.
Is it about 3 years ago?
I think it's been 3 years. I've only been there for just this football season.
Right.
I'm a newer ad, but I think it's
so. When they started it, right? Like I've been friends with Thomas since he ran the Falcons, and he used to come do my show when I was on the Howard Stern channels for like 10 years in New York City, and he would come do the show, and we'd go out and eat lobster in Manhattan, and we became close friends. And then through the years, he would always come on the show as the Falcons GM, and then he left, and he started doing the stuff with Sumer. And it was like, I remember it was real analytical, and it was trying to help franchises. So you had done a lot of stuff in football with like NFL Network and such.
Yep.
So I did, NFL, I don't know if it was NFL Films or NFL Network. I did the top 10 shows for about 15 years. Because I would go on those things and misbehave for like 15 years. And we would tape them in like the Omni in Manhattan. I'd do the whole season in like 5 hours. And we would tape. So I know a lot of the people at the NFL Network. What was it like for you to transition from that to Sumer and going into they're like mad scientists at Sumer. They're not like people at NFL Network, a bunch of beer drinkers and whiskey drinkers that like football and gambling. At Sumer, they're like scientists.
Well, it's in so many different ways. It's really, really interesting in terms of the layers of difference, right? Well, first of all, even prior to leaving NFL Network and then prior to me starting at Sumer, was like entering more of a podcast space and radio and doing those types of conversations, which is a transition in and of itself from television.
Right.
Television's very choppy, talk about things
for
like a minute and a half max. And
You're right.
With multiple people weighing in on a conversation. On a podcast, you could go like 12 minutes on a topic back and forth with somebody with all of the different...
Or the whole hour.
For sure, right? Yeah.
Right, and I saw people today, they were, like at our network, they were taping half-hour segments, one after the next, trying to get as many of them load them up into the queue for the week, and they just bang out segments. It's a lot different down there, right, at Sumer.
Well, it allows you to go into a lot more detail, right? So you're really kind of getting to the thing about TV that's always challenging in a good way sometimes, but is like if you're doing an interview, you have time for maybe 3 to 6 questions, right? And so you kind of have to do the mental math about, is it worth it to ask a follow-up question?
Right.
Or are we going to get bogged down and then not have time to get to the other things that people want to talk about? But then there is a level of like kind of surface that you're not scratching it, you're just staying right there. And so it's been so interesting being able to dive into all of the many layers of things and really kind of ask the questions about like, okay, so this is that, but is it really that? Or do we just think it's that? This player is good. Is he still good?
Right.
Or is he not really good anymore? And kind of ask all of the questions that help peel back some of those onion layers to get to information that you feel like really properly reflects what's going on the football.
How have the teams responded to it? Like, I remember when the guy started. What was his partner's name? Eric, something like that?
Eric Eager.
So I know Eric really well. Eric came on my show once and dropped an F-bomb live on television.
didn't.
It was fantastic.
Okay.
It really made my day because I was a guy.
TV.
Listen, I worked at Howard Stern, so I am the epitome of bad language and horrible behavior. I never wear a sport coat, okay? So I am a bad person. And he came on and said all kinds of horrible things on my show one day. He had no idea that we were on, like, clean television, and I love him for that. I really do. But what has it been like have you seen these teams receiving this information? Because they wanted to take it to the teams and show them what they could do to realize what they were missing on the football field with their analytics and with their videos, their films, because they study film like you and I. Like, you have kids, I have kids, I got kids in college, kids are a pain in the ass. NFL teams' film sessions are a pain in the ass. Right. But I think Sumer wanted to cut through that and help them. Did they receive it well?
Well, so I would not be the person to answer that question because I'm not going.
You have to be.
Yes, they received it great. Obviously, the business model is selling like hotcakes. That
is awesome. It sounded like a chime in your backyard. Is that like a chime in your yard?
The person who has the ringer on, what's that going?
That is a fantastic phone ring, though. I literally thought the wind was blowing and that my dog was in the backyard and he had knocked it. Listen to the chimes.
It won't stop.
It's fantastic. And you got you're really popular. People calling you left and right.
I know for sure that that's an unwanted phone call because that's the only kind.
I don't like those.
Things.
I block all those. Let me ask you a question. Where did you cut your teeth?
There's so many different.
Fair enough. So tell me the story.
Well, I started working like internships in broadcasting when I was in college.
Right.
So I was working.
Where was that in college?
Manager and a red hat, the person who holds up their hand.
Right. What college?
USC.
Oh, a Trojan, this woman. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I worked at Fox Sports West prior to leaving college, and then went and did like small market stuff. Yakima, Tri-Cities, Washington.
Sure. I know Yakima. I used to be on the air there.
Were you?
Well, I've been syndicated nationally my whole career, so I've been on everywhere.
Not on the air.
No, just on there. I've been on everywhere.
They hear me in Yakima. That's what you meant. Yeah.
It's a good spot. So do you did you like doing the NFL Network stuff? And who do you think is going to win this football game? Like, do you even care about the football game?
Of course I care.
Do you still?
Who would be here?
Well, who's your team? Who's your team? Because I'm a Steeler fan. I hate both of these teams. I hope they get diarrhea.
I'm a nerd when it comes to just football data and content.
Right.
I'm kind of will go wherever the wind leads me in terms of where the right story is.
Right.
And then what I root for are my takes.
No, but what about you don't have a team that you root for?
I don't have a team.
You don't even have. You don't have
the weirdest thing ever.
Wait a minute. You're like a woman without a team. You have no team that you rooted for your whole life.
Yes. So I grew up in L.A.
And they had so many teams leave, you lost interest.
Kind of. It wasn't where my interest was attached to. And so I wasn't really a huge fan of the NFL.
What does your husband think of you being a sportscaster? Like, does he like it, or is he into sports?
Yeah.
What does he do?
Yeah, I run all of our fantasy leagues, and
and you beat his ass in fantasy leagues?
I mean, he's pretty good. I'm going to give him some credit.
He's not bad.
But
what does he do for a living?
He is he's Baywatch.
Wow.
Like the TV show.
Wow. So he's like David Hasselhoff? You have like a hunk husband that runs on the beach in a red swimsuit?
I don't know how much he runs on the beach, but red swimsuit.
Lindsay, I love you. It's great to meet you. Say hi to my friends at Sumer Sports.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Okay, so we got Coach Young from Betting Above the Rim, the great podcast. You see him on Coast to Coast all the time. He's our hoops insider and basketball guru extraordinaire. We're in New Orleans at the Super Bowl, and I mean, honestly, Coach, you're like giving Lindsay the business. Like, what's that about?
Listen,
honestly, you're giving her the business. Thank God she couldn't hear you. You're evil and unholy.
Oh, me? No, I'm a saint. I went to Catholic school, Ferrall. I'm fine.
She was scared to death of me, that woman.
Honestly, she was like, Ferrall, you got to be honest. I was scared of you first time I came on here with you.
Listen, I'm like a puppy, but she didn't know what hit her. Like the look on this woman's face when I started talking to her, like it literally her face dropped off her face. Like, and then in the middle of it, her phone started ringing, like somebody was calling to see if she needed help. She was scared to death of me.
A puppy is more like 100-pound Rottweiler. That's what you are. At 6 months.
Thank you. I'm like baby Jesus. Anyway, talk to me about, because I've already told everyone about Luka, and I've told everyone about the Fox and Levine, and I need to hear from you about both of them.
Well, Ferrall, first things first, with the trade with the Lakers and the Mavs, I mean, we want to talk about something that came out of nowhere. No one thought that either one of these guys were going to get moved. So the fact that they got moved in the dark of a Saturday night is still amazing to me. But Ferrall, I'm of the minority here, okay? There's short term and there's long term. Short term, Ferrall, I'm going to be honest, I love this for Dallas. Two things. If Kyrie is dialed in, which he has been since Luka got hurt, and I think playing for Jason Kidd has helped him. And if AD can be healthy, I know he's got the abdominal strain, but he's been relatively healthy the last 2 years. Ferrall, we know hoops as well as anybody in this network. Well, probably better. High pick and roll.
Oh, yeah.
Space the floor. So now you dive AD, and then you can put P.J. Washington, Quentin Grimes has been really, really good. No one's talking about that. And Klay Thompson. Not only that, you get an elite defender in AD and rim protector and rebounder, right? You have a great defender in P.J. Washington. When you get Lively back, great defender. Daniel Gafford, really good rim protector. Quentin Grimes, good 3-and-D guy. Ferrall, they're going to be one of the best defensive teams the rest of the way. When you go to the Lakers, this is long term. Right now, it doesn't work for me, Ferrall. I don't know how those two share the ball, Luka and LeBron. They don't have enough
easily.
Easily. Well, listen, I don't think it's going to be that easy. It's going to be a little bit of adjustment
honestly,
here.
like, stop. There is no way. You know more ball. You watch more ball. You and I go to more ball than anyone. When you put two mega talents like that together, like it's almost like an all-star game. When you see those two play together, all they do is laugh and go off. Don't tell me. I'm not listening to Charles Barkley or you tell me that those two can't play together. They're going to play together.
Well,
they're going to be – Luka's going to bring the ball up, and you know what LeBron's going to do? He's going to dunk it.
Well, here's the thing, Ferrall. That's fine. They're going to score. Who are they stopping? Luka.
Well, he doesn't play any defense. That's fine. But this isn't about right now. It's about for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Right now, I don't like it. 2 years, you got this guy that's going to play there for the next 10 years, and a team that had Mike, that had Elgin Baylor, that had Jerry West, that had Wilt, that had Kareem, that had Magic, that had Worthy, that had Shaq, that had Kobe, that had LeBron, that had AD, that had, Paul Gasol. This is their next superstar for the next 10, 15 years. I get it.
Yep.
My thing is right now, Ferrall, there's got to be another move. It's either got to be a Mitchell Robinson, a Clay Capella, a Walker Kessler, a Valanciunas. They need a rebounder and a rim protector because they have none of that in L.A.
All right, what about Fox with Wemby and Levine with that group in Sacktown and all those picks they got?
Well, let me tell you this. First, for San Antonio perspective, they got Fox, and they got to keep Stephon Castle, and they got to keep Keldon Johnson, and they got to keep Devin Vassell, right? And CP3's there as a mentor with Wemby. Ferrall, I love this trade. I think defensively they're going to be dynamite in the backcourt with Castle and Fox. Those are two guys that can get after you 94 feet. You know it, I know it. They're going to continue to get better and better and better, and they didn't really give much. My concern with Sacramento is this. 3 years ago, you had a choice, right? Fox or Halliburton. You traded Halliburton to get Sabonis. Now you lose Davion Mitchell. You trade him in the offseason, and now you lost De'Aaron Fox. So you need a point guard. You need someone that can distribute. Now, you could run that high post offense like Denver and give it to Sabonis and let him dime people up. But my thing is this, Ferrall. Haven't we seen the Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan show already in Chicago? And that didn't work.
Yeah,
yeah. And here's the thing.
That's what Mike said.
I don't like the fit. I don't like the fit. But I do like San Antonio and Chicago. Lord have mercy. Just blow it up already. Get rid of Vucevic. Let Torrey Craig go. See what you can get for Lonzo Ball, right? Ayo Dosunmu, trade him too. Just start over and let Billy Donovan go.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Really quick, can you give me your NBA and college rack?
Yeah, I'm going to go Pistons -4 versus the Hawks. Hawks 2-6 against the spread. No Capella, no Jalen Johnson, no Bogdanovich. Give me the Pistons -points coming off of covering 2 straight. Next, Rockets Knicks. I'm going under 223.5. Now remember, OG is out, but the last 3 times the Knicks and Rockets have played, Ferrall, they've all gone under 210. That's going to be a defensive battle. Timberwolves -4.5 versus the Kings. Timberwolves 4-1 against the spread, coming off a loss. Kings, they need time to figure it out with Levine there.
Right.
I'm going to go with the Warriors on the money line versus the Magic. Magic 2-8 against the spread. They're in a bad way. College rack. Virginia Pitt under 131.5. 2 strong defensive teams. 2 teams that don't run the ball off the floor. And here's the big one. Kansas money line. TJ Ossenberger's team at Iowa State. Ferrall, they're not right now. Kansas gets the win at home.
Yeah, they got smoked at home at the Hilton Coliseum. I thought I was seeing things when they lost that game. And now they got to play in Lawrence at Fog Allen tonight. They're going to have their hands full. We'll see if that comes to fruition. Coach, great stuff. Good to see you, buddy.
My man.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
You want me to solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes, end of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High, back here at Radio Row at Super Bowl 59 in Nolens, and they got a lot of good seafood down here. A lot of fried oysters, regular. Honestly, I sat with Ryan. I told you I ate 100 fresh oysters on the half shell. I ate, and I had the the whole deal going. The hot sauce, the cocktail sauce, horseradish. I mean, I had it going, Carver. I must have had 50 of them. Because I ordered 100, and I ate 50 of them. He ate 50 of them. And the seafood is unbelievable here. It really is. I got to give him credit. But so what happened to DeJounte Murray?
Yeah, he's finished. He tore his Achilles on Friday night in that loss to the Celtics. So it's been a bad year for the Pelicans in terms of injuries, and it only gets worse. So Murray finished for the season. That has not worked out that well for them so far. We have a lot of games tonight in the NBA, 10 games in all that we have to get to, so we might as well start getting through those. The Wizards are in Charlotte tonight against the Hornets, -5.5 for the Hornets, 215.5 the total.
I mean, you talk about a horrible basketball game. These two may top the cake. I have to take Charlotte at the Spectrum in Charlotte at home over the Wizards. I'm just not betting on the Wizards ever. So on nights that they win, which has happened 7 times this year, I'm stunned. So I never bet on terrible teams. So I'm not going to bet. I think Charlotte's just as bad, but they're better than them. So give me the Hornets.
They did snap that losing streak Saturday, right, against the Timberwolves. Didn't they beat the Timberwolves on Saturday?
Yeah,
the Wizards.
I literally, I thought it was a misprint.
They only win one game every 5 or 6 weeks, so they're not going to win again tonight after they just won on Saturday. The Hawks are in Detroit against the Pistons. Pistons -4.5, 237.5 the total.
I like Cade Cunningham and the Pistons at Little Sleezers.
Yeah, I like them in Detroit as well. Hawks have not been playing well, as you know. They have been a lot of problems. One of the best games of the night, about the Rockets at the Garden against the Knicks at the world's most famous. Knicks -6.5, 223.5 the total.
Well, this is a good game. It's on NBA TV, and the Knicks have been destroying everybody they've been playing lately at home. But I hit that game last week with Houston. Remember, I had them, and I had 4.5, and they lost by 1 to Memphis. I just think it's too many points to give the Rockets. I do. I think it's too many points. I think they're going to show up and give the Knicks a game at the Garden.
A lot of points, indeed. The Spurs are in Memphis against the Grizz. Memphis minus 3.5, 239.5 the total.
I can't believe it's only 3. I mean, I just watched Memphis. I know they played last night. I don't care. They're going to win tonight at FedEx again against the Spurs. I know Wemby's good, and I know they got a couple of guys that can bang and ball, but I still got to go Grizzlies. They're just, again, just on another level.
They are on another level. I was trying to see if they were going to get Fox in there tonight. Of course, the trade just happened last night. They have him listed as game time decision. We'll see if Fox makes his debut for the Spurs in that game. The Kings also, of course, one of the other side of that big trade. They're in Minnesota against the T-Wolves this evening. Minnesota minus 5.5, 221.5 the total.
So, I mean, you just lose to the Wizards at home, and now you're at home against the Kings. To me, they have to win. After people paid all that money to go see them lose to the Wizards and get bent over by the Wizards, they have to go out tonight and win. I like them to cover and win at home against the Kings.
Bucks, after the loss to Memphis last night, are in OKC against the Thunder. Now, obviously, Thunder minus 16.5. That is because no Giannis, no Dame time. Basically, skeleton crew for Milwaukee, 224.5 the total.
Oh, yeah, so then obviously we're going to take the Bucks. They have absolutely no one playing. The entire team is taking the night off. They'll easily cover the 16. They'll probably lose by 1.
We will come back. I've got 4 or 5 other late-night games for you, a bunch of late-night games, including the Magic and Golden State. Phoenix is in Portland tonight, so we will do all of those to start the final hour when we come back.
Yeah, and there's only one top 25 game that Coach was talking about, but it's a dandy. There are other games that suck.
Solve all this tush-push and fourth down malarkey that goes on with the officials? Here's a crazy idea. Get rid of the worst rule in the NFL, and that is forward progress. How about this? Where I knock your ass in the ground is where the ball goes, period. Let's end this whole conversation. Like, if I drop you back 4 yards, then you lost 4 yards. If we get rid of forward progress, this tush-push and everything else is taken care of. Where I put your tail on the ground is where the ball goes. End of conversation. It's the dumbest rule and the most arbitrary rule. The only thing that is a worse call in the NFL than forward progress is the punt that goes out of bounds when you watch the official walk down the sideline having absolutely no clue where that ball crossed over. All I can think of is that Price is Right game go do-de-do-de-do, do-de-do-de-do, as he's walking down the sideline, arbitrarily trying to figure out where the ball crossed over because he's got no clue.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
But is it just a matter of his contract, his age? I mean, usually things like this get fixed pretty quickly, but this one is not fixed, and now it's just super uncomfortable.
The opportunity or the idea of getting another team involved adds more complication to the situation, and it doesn't seem like a resolution is anywhere in sight, but the more suspensions come in, the more it's clear that the saga is over, or his time there is over.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.